So there's a debate going on social media about this Dereck Chisora, Dillian Whyte, Luis Ortiz situation. Because you got a lot of people, certainly in my boxing group, who are disputing this idea that the fans would rather see Dillian Whyte fight Chisora again over Dillian Whyte fighting Luis Ortiz. I mean, even Chisora here is saying, no one wants Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. I bring the money. And you got people saying, yes, this is true. Nobody knows Ortiz outside of the hardcore boxing circles. But you've also got other people saying it's not true at all. Ortiz versus Whyte is a much better fight than Ortiz versus Chisora. It's a much more dangerous fight. It's a Whyte versus Ortiz. It's a much more dangerous fight than Whyte versus Chisora for Whyte. And the fans would love to see Whyte versus Ortiz. Well, I have to agree with what Dereck Chisora is saying here. Well, let me not completely agree with it. He's saying no one wants to see Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. Well, I want to see Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. I would much rather see Whyte versus Luis Ortiz than Whyte versus Chisora. But people like me and people like you, most of you guys watching and listening right now, we do not represent the majority of boxing fans. No, we don't. I've said this time and time again on my channel. The majority of boxing fans, particularly who watch the bigger names in British boxing, like Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, even to some extent a Dereck Chisora, these people are casuals, the majority of them. Hardcore boxing fans are a minority. This is a reality. We, the hardcore, we're a minority. So you come onto my channel, you look in the comment section, and the majority of people there are going to be avid boxing fans. They're not going to be fly-by-night boxing fans who only ever tune in for big fights. No, there are going to be a few of those guys, but the majority are going to be avid boxing fans, people who tune in to watch boxing week in, week out. Now, you might not have the knowledge of some more experienced boxing fans, but you're still very keen if you're tuning in, week out to watch boxing. You're still very keen on boxing if you're tuning in to listen to a man like me, right? Just talking about boxing. I'm not even showing fights. I'm just talking about it. So if you're tuning in to listen to me, you must be very interested in boxing. This is not where you're going to find an accurate representation of how the most casual boxing fans think, feel, and behave. My channel is not the place. If you want to find out the mindset of a casual, go to the YouTube channels which just show boxing highlights. That's where you're really going to find all the casuals. Right? The ones that do boxing montages and boxing knockout videos and Anthony Joshua highlights and stuff like that. You go there and you will be amazed at how little these people actually know about boxing. How few fighters they actually know. The average citizen in the UK has got no idea who Luis Ortiz is. But there are plenty of citizens. I'm not saying Dereck Chisora is a household name in the UK, because he's not. People who are on the fringes of becoming boxing fans know who Dereck Chisora is. Yeah, so he's moderately famous in the UK among people who are kind of skirting around being a boxing fan. But Luis Ortiz is totally unknown to the vast majority of the British public. It's only hardcore boxing fans or people who might have been to an Eddie Hearn show when Hearn was promoting Ortiz who know who the guy is. So, of course, again, to reiterate, I would much prefer to see Whyte fight Ortiz than see Whyte fight Chisora again. Is no contest for me. in terms of which fight I'd rather see. But the reality is, Whyte versus Chisora 2 is a bigger fight than Whyte versus Ortiz. It is, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, it is commercially a bigger fight because people know Chisora, particularly after that knockout over Takam, which was a highlight reel knockout that Sky was showing time and time again across their different channels. They were showing highlights of that knockout. That went far and wide. That went viral. The first fight between Whyte and Chisora had like friends' dads who are not even massive boxing fans, who hardly ever tune in to watch boxing, talking about, oh wow, that was the best fight I've seen for ages. The Whyte and Chisora first fight. These are the kind of people I'm talking about. They don't know who Ortiz is. But they sat down and watched that fight on Sky Sports and they thought, wow, this Whyte versus Chisora is a great fight. So, yeah, the reality is Whyte Chisora 2 is commercially a bigger fight than Whyte versus Ortiz, and that will disappoint hardcore fans like me and you, because that means that there's less chance of the Ortiz fight happening than the Chisora rematch. But it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Dillian Whyte has been a warrior his whole career. Probably been a warrior his whole life. And he's at the point now where he's making life-changing sums of money. He's just got there. Life-changing sums of money. If he were to step in the ring with Luis Ortiz, do I think he would be afraid of the punches coming at him from Luis Ortiz? Absolutely not. No. Dillian Whyte is a warrior. He's been in there with the Anthony Joshuas and he's been chasing down Deontay Wilder. If he's not afraid of going in the ring against Wilder, the man who beat Ortiz, then why would he be afraid of getting in the ring with Ortiz? As I've said many times, Dillian Whyte is not the scared type. Those people who saying the guy's scared, he's not scared. But is he being a little more careful now in terms of which fights he picks? In terms of risk reward? Yes, he is being more careful now. Now that he's on the brink of a world title shot. Yeah, so many other fighters would just wait it out and they wouldn't even fight. They just wait around for the title shot. They'll take on a few jokers, you know, a few weak fringe contenders and just wait for that title shot. Not that Dillian Whyte is a mandatory, but, you know, as a number one contender, he's going to get ordered into a final eliminator, probably a different one, you know, because there's already been the second final eliminator against Ortiz and there was the Pulev fight. As long as he stays ranked high enough in the top 5 and keeps treading water, he's going to get a title shot somewhere. And he's been taking risks. But the risks, at this point, he's trying to make them calculated risks. Not just random risks to please the fans, but calculated risks. So, the fights which I'd like to see most, Miller and Ortiz, and after those, maybe Brazil, they seem unlikely. The most likely fight seems to be the Chisora rematch. And to be fair, so many people have been saying that Chisora was robbed in the Whyte fight. So many people. So many people were saying, actually, when you think about it, loads of people were saying that Dillian Whyte would never fight Chisora again. People were saying that Whyte was ducking Chisora. He was ducking the rematch. You don't want that smoke. He got away with a gift decision. This is what a lot of people were saying. And here we are. It looks like Whyte is actually going to fight Chisora in a rematch. But I thought he was ducking Chisora's rematch. You know, it is what it is. What would you do in Dillian Whyte's position? Would you fight Luis Ortiz? How many of you have actually laced up a pair of gloves to know what it feels like to have to get in there and fight somebody? You know, in that position as a fighter, when you're just for the first time after years of hard work starting to make life-changing sums of money, would you take a more lucrative fight against Chisora, which is still a tough fight? Would you take that, or would you take a less lucrative fight against Ortiz? Hey, maybe some of you would take the Ortiz fight because it inches you a little bit closer to Wilder. But even then, the WBC are not the strictest when it comes to enforcing their mandatories. And Wilder has said in private messages that he intends to make Dillian Whyte wait 2 years for his shot. So maybe there's not really much to be gained by going the Ortiz route. He would only be second mandatory anyway, not first mandatory. When's Brazil going to get his shot? Because Brazil has to get his shot before the winner of the next WBC eliminator, be it Whyte versus Ortiz or whoever. So these are things you have to factor in. If Luis Ortiz, as Dillian Whyte has said, if that him versus Luis Ortiz was going to be a final eliminator to become the first mandatory, to be the one to get their mandatory shot at Wilder first, I've got no doubt Dillian Whyte would fight Ortiz. He called Ortiz out when Ortiz was signed to Hearn. Why did he do that if Ortiz was such a beast? Ortiz is older now and he's been knocked out now. So he's less formidable now than he was when Whyte actually called him out. Yeah. Well, Whyte has called people out like Povetkin. He's looking at fighting Joshua again. He fought Joseph Park. I don't see why people are acting as though Dillian Whyte is scared to get in the ring with Ortiz. Is he thinking risk reward? Yeah, he's thinking risk reward. Of course he is. But physically scared to get in the ring and fight the man? No. That's not who Dillian Whyte is. Anyway, I'll let you guys debate in the comments below. Let me know how you feel. It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.